Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, when it comes to heavy freight or unusual cargo, my next guest is the king of the road. You're going to hear his incredible story next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, we've all had this experience. You're driving in traffic and then you see this huge truck that says wide load, and sometimes it could be carrying a missile, a helicopter, heavy cargo. It takes a very specialized shipping and trucking company to manage that kind of load. And my next guest is the king of the road. Chandler Magann is in the studio. He's the founder and president of Next Exit
Logistics.
Easy for you to say.
Yes. Well, it reminds me of our business being called Magann, Texas, and no one could pronounce Magann, and they thought we only did business in Texas. And so that's why we had to change it to Next Exit Logistics.
Well, how did you get into this? I mean, you didn't go to school for this?
No, I went to actually college to become a car dealer, and I worked for some very high-end luxury car dealerships in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And that was kind of my course, and my passion was cars. And then the longer I was in the business, the more I realized the people who make money in the car business were either the salespeople or the owners. So the whole management component, the ROI on the hours they put into the store and income they're generating don't match up. And then on the owner side, I saw how much they were traveling for work, going to auctions, going to learning events and things like that. And I was like, that's too much. And so my father had always had a trucking company since they had deregulation in 1980. He actually had to have a customer go to court and testify on his behalf that he should be a trucking company. And I didn't want anything to do with trucking, because when your parents come home and talk about work, it's usually not the positive. And so for years, I always heard the bad things about trucking. And so it wasn't until many years later that he approached and said, hey, this is something you should learn. And it's funny because the reason I got into it was maybe not to have to work those Saturdays anymore. But the funny thing, Jeff, about being an entrepreneur is not only did I have to work Saturdays, I worked Sundays, and I never worked Sundays before. And then, kind of here we are.
Well, and I want to show some video, and I want you to describe this for us, because I think this video was shot recently. Actually, that's a video from something like 14 years ago. So tell us about this project that you were working on.
Sure. So it's a brand new 100-ton Manitowoc crane, and it was in Houston. It just come across, actually from Japan. It has the Japanese engine in it, and the crane was in Houston in a storage yard, because there's other cranes you'll see in the background, and we got the go ahead from the client to move their 100-ton crawler crane. So it's actually a 100-ton crawler crane, and when you move a crawler crane of that size, it's actually several truckloads, and that right there you see moving and crawling around is actually considered the upper works of the crane. You said everything is removed from it right now, and then the trucks in the background that you see moving are the lattice booms and counterweights, and there might be some crates, but that's actually the basis of the crawler crane, and most of it can actually self-install itself. It can kind of put its own self together. And
you were moving this during like a snowstorm or something.
Houston had an ice storm, and so we had to get there the night before because we knew this storm was coming, and to try to find the closest hotel to the pickup destination. And we actually had the pickup location, we had all the trucks arrive the night before. And so what's nice is that yard is covered in rock and sand and dirt. It's not paved. So there's not a lot of slippery conditions, but they shut the school system down in Houston.
Wow.
And the crane wouldn't start. And so we had to go get they had to do a service call and go get a battery. And the battery, because of the ice storm, it took hours to get the battery to show back up.
So you talked about doing a lifestyle company where you didn't have to think about things on nights and weekends. I have to imagine when you're doing a big job like that, are you awake at 2 a.m. wondering if the crane is okay?
That's actually a good question. A lot of it is the advanced planning that we put into it, and we measure so many times so that we only have to cut once. It's so much easier and so much less pressure to be able to actually put your plan together, run through it, kind of poke holes at it before you actually have to execute on it. And so we do a lot of pre-planning, and even building into the plan, a backup plan, a plan B, a plan C. And I think that's what helps. So when we're actually there, the kind of the nerves and the excitement of it, it's all over. You're now actually just executing your plan.
Yes. And on many of these adventures, you have like a police escort. I mean,
we do have civilian escorts. It's dictated by what the state permits. So when the shipment's traveling through different states, on the permit, it'll say whether you need to have, some people call them blue lights. I just call it law enforcement because it can be any branch of law enforcement. But they'll usually have law enforcement involved with the shipment. And that's really there to protect the public because the shipment's taking up more than 1 or 2 lanes. They're taking 2 or 3 lanes to make a turn. Oh my gosh, if they had to do a U-turn, that takes like all the lanes, and the public doesn't understand that. They know how to get around a small little 4-door car that's not moving out of the way, but they don't understand how to get out of the way of those.
Right. We have another video. Let's go ahead and pull this up on the screen. I want you to talk about this because I think this is a project that you worked on recently. What is this one?
That's actually skins for a Boeing C-17 aircraft. And the skins are the pieces wedged in between the foam. The piece on top of it is the orange piece is a beam that's used to pick the skins up and lower them down. But it's I think that thing was 63 feet in length on the trailer.
Wow. I want to pull up the gallery page of your website because you work on so many unique projects. Have you ever had to turn down a job? Like we can't handle that move? Or
the only one that's ever kind of stumped me is we had a client who wanted to handle tombstones. Well, what they call them, memorial markers. I call it a tombstone. It was multiple stops with a forklift at each location. And when you're going to small little cities with a forklift, it can be cumbersome to try to arrange for a forklift to meet because that truck's kind of doing like an ice cream truck. It's stopping every several locations to drop off the tombstones. And we just could never find the fit for that. Even if we found the trailer for it, we couldn't find the vendor pool to do that one.
Wow. All right. What's your favorite memory? You've been doing this for a while now. What's your favorite success story?
I really like actually being on site with the client, and I think they're more calm because we're able to make adjustments or changes to their load plan when we do a large project. So it's getting involved in a large project, and I actually have one that I'm about to work on. We've done this before, but the client re-engaged with us and wants to do it again, and it's planning it out. So right now, I don't know how many truckloads it's going to take. So we go through the spreadsheets and we map it all out on how it's going to fit on the truck, and then we kind of put our plan together. But I'm really excited about that because when I first got into the industry, we basically we're kind of told what to do by the client. Now we're kind of like, we're creating our own ingredients, we're building our own recipe, and then we serve the meal, and the clients really enjoy that meal.
Yeah. And you said earlier in the show, measure twice, cut once. I mean, you know the height regulations for every overpass in the country, I imagine, and say, hey, there's no way we can do that route. We have to do this route.
Yeah, and in those cases, you actually have to exit the freeway. It seems crazy, but they can't go in a direct route. Sometimes those can go 200 or 300 miles out of route, especially if they were going into a disaster area where we're delivering generators for like the telecom companies who their power's down, but they need to get the 911 system back up and running. The generators, we have to go around the floodwaters. And so we're going, the biggest one we went out of route was probably 300 miles.
Wow.
And then we've also had to go to the north side of states on the northeast to come back into the south side because the bridges were not strong enough on the south side of the state.
No kidding. You have a fascinating business, Chandler. We have about 2 minutes left. So final thoughts. What thoughts do you want to leave the audience with on either entrepreneurship or why they might need to engage your company?
That's interesting. We're really well suited for project freight. So if somebody has a large amount of freight that needs to get moved, especially in a shorter amount of time, and they want on-site project management, we don't see anyone else in our industry doing that kind of work. The other thing I'd share is that when I got into this business, it was more of the many years ago, it was a lemonade stand mindset. It's like, let's see if I can sell some lemonades today. And then you sell them, and then you come back and like, oh, well, now as far as the entrepreneurial journey, now I need to have staff. Now I need to have marketing. Now I need to have processes. But it's definitely been a great journey going along. The other thing is we do high value shipments, and sometimes we do a lot of one-off shipments. Some of the stuff I can talk about, and the others are protected under an NDA.
Well, and I also want to thank you for your support of EO over the years, Entrepreneurs Organization. I'm a proud member. You got there in 2008. I got there in 2014. It's just a wonderful group of brothers and sisters in entrepreneurship, and so thank you for all your work with EO.
Yeah, I'm glad you've been in it as well. It's been great for my family. Even my kids get to go to some of those events sometimes, and they're not looking at, they're teenagers, and they're not looking at their cell phone screens. They're actually really engaged in it. So EO has brought a lot of value and best practices into the business and for even the family.
Outstanding. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to end with your website, which is nextexitlogistics.com. The great Chandler Magann. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. It's been great.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.